did a Forgotten Gems list, but weirdly enough, I forgot a lot of shit. I couldn't pack all the lost gems into 10 slots, so here I am back with another 10. Without further ado, let's jump back into the awesome games that time forgot. Scarface, The World Is Yours has a button dedicated solely to cursing out your enemies and a mechanic called the balls meter. I'm going to say more, but after that I don't think I have to. Scarface, The World Is Yours chronicles Tony Montana's rise and fall. You know, the other one that happened after that other rise and fall. Yeah, he survived that shit. And then he bought the same house again and spent a lot of time lavishly furnishing it. And then he kept doing whatever the fuck a Tony Montana does. Except this time Tony Montana was being controlled by a 13-year-old Charlie. And 13-year-old Charlie had a penchant for killing hookers by the roadside and inciting shopping mall chainsaw massacres. So basically, the Scarface game is about Tony Montana somehow becoming worse than he already was. Also, I know what you're thinking, and no, there is actually not an incest minigame. I, for one, am incredibly disappointed by the lack of this feature. There aren't enough games like War of the Monsters anymore. This game is very simple, but it is a metric fuck ton of fun. It's about giant monsters beating each other to death, and that is literally it. You can play as a slew of creative knockoffs like King Gorilla, or God Lizard, or Electric Eye Guy, Magma Mountain Man, Smog, the Dragoon. There's a ton of levels, a ton of skins, and hours of entertaining split-screen action waiting for you on the PlayStation Network right now. For some reason, there are like fucking 15 games available for PS2 on PS4 right now. They didn't put Metal Gear Solid 4 or Shadow of the Colossus up on there first. No, they chose War of the Monsters. It's $10, go check that shit. I'm gonna be honest, this game is kinda terrible. But it's the kind of terrible that you can't help but love. Like The Hobbit 3, or that one Jaws movie that covered Michael Caine's vacation home. So yeah, the Jaws game's bad, but it's a mindless kind of fun that I can get behind. Like running around macheting civilians in Grand Theft Auto, or blowing up stuff in Jaws' cause. And you'd think since you play as Jaws the whole game, maybe they'd give him some kind of minimalist characterization, or arc, or— Nah, fuck that! You are just a 2-ton death machine made of teeth and fucking meat, and you hate people. You bite, you leap, you maim, you kill. And after that you discover that staying in place long enough is actually gonna kill you. Because that actually happens to sharks in real life. Because that's what Jaws Unleashed is really about, trying to capture that life of your average, everyday shark.
It's party time! Viva Pinata, filled with fun. Filled with fun!
I played so much Viva Pinata that the theme filled my dreams, and eventually my nightmares, before looping back around to my wet dreams. It's an excellent all-ages farming simulator packed with enough candy puns to put your fat ass into a diabetic coma. And as I'm sure you can tell, Viva Pinata is bursting with so much creativity and color that I had to play the game with a wooden spoon under my tongue. It's really sad that Viva Pinata was the last of the great Rare games. Through what I can only assume must have been a mass suicide, Rare went from developing some of the most accessible and well-designed games of all time to developing shovelware for one of the biggest failures in Microsoft history. Luckily, a bunch of the old Rare developers who still have their souls formed Playtonic Games and are coming out with their own Banjo-Kazooie game, cleverly titled Yooka-Laylee. I'm looking forward to Playtonic's next few games, Muerte Pinata and Kinky Dong Country. Remember when wacky-ass games like Destroy All Humans were normal? Yeah, I miss it too. It seems like the landscape of gaming has changed in the decade or so since Destroy All Humans' inception. Nowadays, I don't think you'd ever see a game about a chain-smoking, gambling, ass-probing alien with the personality of Bill Murray on morphine. It just wouldn't happen.
Daddy-o, I'll spin your platter.
But I'm so glad it did, because Destroy All Humans, and particularly Destroy All Humans 2, is fucking great. It's funny as hell, and it's the kind of game you can pick up and play at any time. It's endless fun to fly around in your spaceship tossing cows, or ripping people's brains out of their assholes. As if the game wasn't already badass enough, the developers just straight up hired Invader Zim to play Crypto's boss.
I doubt hippies had much to do with ambushing you and destroying the mothership.
On the nose, yes. Awesome, also yes. Have you ever wanted to direct films? Or maybe watch an actor you plucked from obscurity rise through the ranks to become an Oscar frontrunner? Well then the movies is just for you, my friend. The movies is a sim game, but not the kind where all you do is drown your children by taking the ladders out of the pool. No, the movies is unique. The majority of your time spent with this game is spent creating films, using the movie's lavish suite of character, set, and action options. The developers even used to have a full website where players could submit their films and view everyone else's, and there was some weird ass shit on there, let me tell you. It's an incredibly fun game that also feels ridiculously creatively rewarding. So thank you for showing me the magic of the movies. True story, I was such a delicate little flower of a child that when I saw this exact cutscene at a friend's house, I burst into tears. Some fool got his head chopped off. I was like 11, that shit was too much. What if mom finds out and she fucking hobbles me? But then I manned the fuck up and did the dastardly deed of playing iNinja. And boy did I fucking love it. iNinja is what you get when you combine Banjo-Tooie with Kill Bill. Or Yoshi's Woolly World with 13 Assassins. It's a classic action platformer with tight controls, a catchy art style, and a sadistic sense of humor, but there's more to it than that. There's kind of a leveling system and a bunch of side missions, as well as creative and insane boss fights. iNinja truly is a gem, and worthy of any gamer's time. This game seems to have been born out of somebody watching John Woo's Hard Boiled and saying to themselves, you know, I want to make a game out of this, but it's too restrained. And thus, Stranglehold was born, and it's filled to the brim with all the slow-motion dick shots you will ever need. You play as a wax mannequin of Chow Yun Fat, who lives off a steady diet of fizzy corn syrup, and I actually have no clue what happens in this game, I do not remember. It could be about Inspector Tequila trying to return somebody's fucking wallet, wouldn't make a difference to me. That's not the point. The point is that you can shoot mobsters in the head while running up the spine of a T-Rex. That feels like what I was born to do. Stranglehold also features badass destruction and cool slow-mo minigames where Inspector Tequila is literally dodging bullets like the fucking Flash. Let's see exactly how fast that would be at normal speeds. How fast does a bullet go? We got... Jesus Christ. If you're a fan of action games, Stranglehold will have no problem holding your attention. I'm sure it's cheap as hell now too, so go and have yourself some gory gonzo fun, you crazy kid. Why the fuck aren't there more games about fools with telekinesis? You got Second Sight, Bioshock a bit, Force Unleashed, I guess? Whatever, there's not a lot of options. But out of those options, the one that really sticks out is Psi-Ops, the Mind Gate Conspiracy. You play as White Man, who does military stuff and gets the powers because of hubris or something. Doesn't matter. What does matter is that you can fucking do this. And you can do this. What do fire hands have to do with telekinesis? Stop asking questions. Make that guy jump off a ledge after you mind control him into shooting his best friend in the goddamn mouth. There are so many powers, so many guns, and so many ways to melt motherfucking brains. Check this one out, folks. It's a winner. I was conflicted as to whether or not Splinter Cell Conviction belonged on my second Forgotten Gems list. I wasn't sure if it had been forgotten yet, but nobody ever talks about this game, and the Splinter Cell series doesn't seem to be going anywhere, even after Blacklist reached the heady heights of being a game. Conviction plays like no other stealth game. It's quick as hell, but still brutal and precise, and it can go from pin drop quiet to an explosive firefight in an instant if you make the slightest mistake. Luckily, mistakes aren't a thing anymore with the incredibly badass mark and execute system. Never has there been a more expertly implemented win button. Along with the engaging story mode, awesomely excessive torture scenes, and gameplay as tight as the bond between man and tree stump, Conviction also stands as one of the most addictive split-screen games I've ever played. There's a whole separate story built to play through with a friend, and that's fucking awesome. You don't even need a friend to play through that stuff anyway, so Conviction is basically 2 games in 1. If you're into stealth or action games, which is to say if you play video games, you owe it to yourself to give Splinter Cell Conviction a shot.